It's coming soon. August 3rd. It's a Saturday, and we're going to have a wonderful workshop by Robin Bady. And the title is The Ladder of Power, Viewing Stories Through the Lens of Class, Race, and Gender. And it's a topic that we really haven't delved into yet with Story Crossroads. But guess what? We're probably going to delve into it more and more these days. It's really important. And I bet, Robin, you have things to say about how important it is. But first off, if you look, there's a link, storycrossroads.org/all things story. That's where you can get the time zone converter and the details to register for this workshop that's happening on Saturday, August 3rd. So, Robin, what is the importance of looking at stories this way with class and race and gender?
Well, everywhere we look, everything we listen to, discussions we have, this is on people's mind. We're living in a society of oligarchs. It's a time it's really important for us to look at what the images are we as storytellers give to the children or the adults that we are talking and telling stories to. I mean, mostly we tend to think of like, who is the goodest, sweetest, bestest of all, and they are on top. But in reality, I'm thinking Cinderella, I'm thinking of all these princesses. They are the star of the story because they wear pretty dresses and they win from whatever to whatever. But is that really the truth? You know, back in the times when these stories were written, you know, women had pretty bad roles. And I understand those stories were written as a way to combat, you know, the roles. And for women, a lot of the stories that were written by women were written to fight, you know, against stereotypes. But we're in a different time. Carl Sandburg, who wrote the Rutabaga stories, which were stories that he calls them American fairy tales. And he wrote them for his daughters because he didn't want his children growing up listening to stories about kings and queens, because as he put it, we're in America. Why would we do that? You know, why would I want them to have that image? He didn't say all this. I'm sort of extrapolating a little bit. But, you know, you don't want those images in children's head. I mean, we fight, you know, there's an awful lot. I don't want my daughter to be a princess. But really, we talk about the girly part of it. But how about the status part? How about the fact that maybe that princess is good to all the little, you know, fish and bugs and, you know, mice and whatever. But what changes? Does everything else in the kingdom stay the same? Is the king overthrown? Does everybody get enough food to eat for generation after generation? Anyway, I don't, yeah.
Well, and it's really good. And I know that in the storytelling world, and I know you've talked about this before, so I want to bring it up now, is that there are archetypes that have been
Right.
with storytelling.
Jungian archetypes is
Yeah,
the one we fall back on all the time.
and there's also the talk of, well, do we need new archetypes? I mean, is it or a transformation of it, or we know that language itself can transform, or what used to mean something at one point is totally different now, and so it is something that we have to look at. So I guess I'm not really asking a question at this point, except that there is this this plan that we usually have as storytellers when we're working out on a story. And when was the last time we literally looked at that plan of for today? And maybe I can get your thoughts on that. How often have you looked at that plan? Like, when did you start feeling like, let me look at these stories closely?
Are you asking me?
And now I'm asking you, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I think it started when I became a stepmother. And I was asked to tell stories about these evil stepmothers. Well, it wasn't about them. It was about Hansel and Gretel. It was Cinderella. And I just thought, this is not right. I'm so nice. I love my stepkids. I work hard. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes I think they're the villains. Why is that not reflected? And there are some reasons for that, the nurturing of mothers, the importance of mothers, particularly in this day and age. God forbid mothers should be bad. I mean, that's what sort of keyed me into it, and thinking, the stepmother really has it rough. And why is that not coming up in the stories? Why are we not? Maybe Cinderella was a pain in the neck, which is how I kind of think of her. Oh, she's like this. I don't believe she had to go into the dust. Please give me a break. She just did that when people came over. I mean, people rewrite stories a lot as it is. I'm just suggesting you do it the way, well, I guess it's a lot of how I see the world, which is there's a class structure. And there's a book out called Caste, who talks about it's really a combination of class and color and ethnicity, that these things are real.
Yeah.
And you can lift one person up, but what does that do for the ones left behind? And how do we want to be training our kids to think? And that is one of the most important things that we as storytellers do, is we teach. Right. Every story, personal stories as well as folklore. Folklore, it's really easy to go into and to pull, or literature, but it's there for personal stories. Like, who feels sorry for the stepmother? Other stepmothers.
Right. Well, and with this workshop, there'll be different activities to do together, and part of it is there is truly the ladder of power. We will actually be going into that image, and very highly recommended is that you go into this workshop with a folktale. Now, it will still work with a personal tale. So Robin's told me that will still work with a personal tale, but if you have a folktale, it will make it easier and more productive in your time with this workshop. So I just wanted to bring that up. Is there anything else that you would want attendees to know before jumping in? I mean, one of the things is we will have this be a safe space. We recognize that when it comes to class, race, and gender, people have so many feelings and opinions on things, and I would hope that there would be people of many kinds of opinions in the workshop. So as best we can, we are going to have this safe space, and we are hoping to extend that to anyone who attends as well, to come in with a safe space feeling. Anything else that the attendees need to know, Robin?
This ladder of power is not fixed. And as you go in the story, you were saying something earlier, Rachel, reminded me of, because as we go in the story, it changes. Someone's up, someone's down. It is a great way to look at motivation for the characters. It's a great way to look at where they get their characteristics. Shakespeare is kind of brilliant to do this with. If you take, which is where I learned about it from a teacher. It's like, goes right back to Shakespeare. Like, why does that bastard son, why is he so mean? Well, imagine all being third. You're not just a villain, you were born into it. You were created to be one. And what can you do? I guess you just go around. I'm thinking of King Lear. You just kill all the people in your way. But, I mean, that's a simple thing, and it doesn't mean you like the character or approve of it, but it gives you a rounder sense of all the characters. So they're not just black and white, they're humans or people or animals. They have something that you can identify with. It's also a great way to look at story arc, just slightly different.
And everything else You're just going to have to come to the workshop, people. If you can't make
It'll
it for
be
some reason,
fun.
if you can't make it August 3rd, yes, you can still order the recordings, though virtual live is best. So make sure that you put on your calendar Saturday, August 3rd, 2024. It is from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time, but there is a time zone converter. So when you go to storycrossroads.org/all-things-stories, you can figure out what will work best for you wherever you are in the world. And this is something that I think as storytellers, we can either ignore or acknowledge. And we would love to acknowledge all of this together on that day until we tell again.